Okay. So, well, my name is Jourdan. I grew up in Indonesia and I've lived in 17 cities across 10 different countries and traveled to more than 55 countries. I'm the founder of Wise Underdogs. This is a new movement and brand that I'm building to address the issues, challenges, and suffering and the possibilities of being an underdog, of being a minority, whatever identity that minority is. And what has driven me to become a coach or a leader or in the healing space is my own life journey and the journey of so many people that I respected, but probably already passed away, or people that I admire and have done similar sort of endeavor and undertaking in their life. My life journey has been quite interesting because I grew up in a country where there's so many complexities. I mean, if people could compare, it's like Indonesia and Brazil is almost the same. The socioeconomic challenges, the political challenges, the racial challenges, the poverty, the corruption, the tropical landscape, the forest, it's almost the same. And there's just so many pains and so many sufferings. And if you can call it traumas, right? There's a lot of traumas and pains and suffering in these countries. I mean, anywhere around the world. But growing up there shaped me of who I am today. And I worked with one really respectable leader in the country at that time at the president's office. His name is Kuntoro Mangkusubroto. He's a professor, he's a leader, he's a minister, he's almost everything. And he really inspired me to study more about leadership. So I got my MBA from Stanford, I got my Master of Public Policy from Oxford. So I collected all these degrees, but it doesn't really create this, this position of leadership that I want. Because I think I kept struggling with power dynamics in my life, be it with a boss or a CEO or a president or a co-founder or anyone who I work with. And I realized I think I'm better just being a leader to myself first. And then I want to be a leader to other leaders, not to be someone that they listen to or look up to, but someone who work alongside them. So I'm really guiding their hands and coaching them. This is why I become an executive and leadership coach, which I find really fulfilling. And then why healing? I mean, this is like life stages in life, I think. When you start turning 30, I think when I turned 30, I just realized, what am I doing with my life? I don't want to call it a midlife, quarter life crisis. I think it's more of just I've reached a stage in my life where I think I peak professionally, academically, and financially. But I go down to the deep valley of my soul. So I call it the dark night of the soul. So externally, I peaked to the mountain. Internally, I went down to the depth of my darkness. And that's the turning point when I start discovering why healing is important. So healing is this process of reclaiming parts of myself that were taken away from me, that I did not know how to reclaim that when I was a child or a teenager or growing up, not knowing how do I respond to a difficult situation in my life in the most productive, constructive, healthy way possible. So reclaiming those is a healing journey. It's not to, fix a wounds inside me. It's like reclaiming the parts of me that were supposed to be me. So healing is becoming whole. It's heal and whole. This is why the words also almost connected. It's becoming more authentic again because all of us are born very pure and very authentic, very original. And sadly or unfortunately, we grew up in a society that want us to be someone else. And even in that process, through your school, university, work, family, religion, society, you always wanted to fit in and become somebody else. And that could be traumatic to some people. And I want that, I claim that process to be my process, so it can be other people's process as well who went through the same wounding journey. So healing is becoming whole and reclaiming part of yourself and becoming powerful and authentic again. And that's really the essence of healing, to be honest. And this is why I want to spread healing to as many humans and maybe species, like the animals, as possible, right? And this is why I'm really passionate about it. This is why the Wise Underdogs is born, is to create a movement and a brand and a house, particularly for the underdogs, the people that I identify with. I think I'm an underdog. No one really expected someone from Indonesia, from middle-class background, having gone through all these prestigious universities and organizations and working at the highest peak of power and politics, and now creating this in different countries. And I didn't even think that I would be successful, nor did my family or anyone in my school, but I proved it. I proved them wrong. And I want this to be an experience for all the people who think they are like me. Yeah. So underdog is a symbolism. If you follow the story of David versus Goliath, right? There is this David, but there's this big monster of Goliath that he's trying to overpower or conquer Goliath, but he didn't succeed, but he then finally succeeded. So underdogs is the Davids. These are the people who people underestimate that they will never succeed in their life. That who are you? Like, what do you have? Like, who are your parents? Where do you grow up? Where do you study? Or where the hell you even come from? But they prove everyone's wrong, right? They really dumbfounded these people. Like, they prove these people wrong. And usually in this process of proving people wrong, to prove them that they are successful, that they are respectable, that they are lovable, that they are incredible, that they are powerful, there's a lot of baggage in that process. Usually come from the place of rage, resentment, just anger, right? This desire to prove people wrong. It's really heavy emotion. It's fire, right? And my purpose with this brand and this movement is to convert them, to transmute this anger, resentment, and just rage into wisdom, into love, into consciousness. So it's lighter in their bodies, lighter in their mind. It's also probably joyful and radiant for the people around them, for the people that they lead. So instead of coming from the place of hate, of anger, it's coming from the place of wisdom, love, and consciousness, and also on that authenticity. And to be honest, those are also my values. As I come from the place of hate and anger and rage and trying to prove people wrong, I want to be spreading more love, more consciousness, more healing, more authenticity. And it's not to kill this fire. It's to maintain this fire inside you, but not burning you. So that's the philosophy and the essence of the Wise Underdogs. How do you have fire and water, like anger and love, right? Hate and consciousness, rage and authenticity, sort of like wisdom and also resentment. Like they all just very natural part of human psyche and human being and human experience. But how do they coexist? So these other ones, like the one that have led these underdogs to where they are, can sit down and relax and still be integrated part of themselves and let the love, consciousness, and wisdom and authenticity shine these times. So it's not dividing or polarizing anyone. So the Goliath does not need to be more angry to conquer the Davids. The Goliath can sit with David and then chill and have some coffee and then like, hey, what's up? You know? So it's more chill, it's just more peaceful. I think we need more peace and serenity and just equanimity in this planet. Like there's just too much hate and too much war, too much resentment, too much destructive. I don't want to call it destructive. I think these emotions serve a purpose. Too much heaviness in the emotions that power people, that drive people thinking and decisions. Can it be something lighter, something more expansive? I think anger and hate and rage and resentment, it's a little bit constrictive. I want people to expand. Coach and healer. I don't think I'm a healer. I think I'm just a light and a guide. And my healings inspires other people's healing. And I think I'm really suspicious if someone calls themselves a healer. There's a tendency to commodify and capitalize and just, take advantage of healing space these days. And I think I'll be careful with the word healer. I think once you do your healing work, you will trigger or inspire people around you. And this is relevant to my coaching, as I do a lot of coaching in the beginning, and I begin my healing journey, my own healing, which became then the embodied wisdom and insights of my life, become the sources and the fountains of my clients' healing journey or their own leadership journey or their own life journey, right? So it's always intersecting. I think as a coach, you always have to keep growing and upgrading yourself. Otherwise, you cannot lead people where they are, because you have to walk the path first. This is also the essence of leadership. Leadership is not someone who leads. A leader is someone who walks first through the fire. And I think I walked so many fires in my life the past, 5-7 years of my healing journey, and really face all my demons, my darkness, my own fire, and water that fire with love, with consciousness, with wisdom, and just become that fountain of water, of light to other people who then come into my life either as a client, as a friend, as my lover, as my partners, as my workers, as my friends and family members, right? I think I changed and transformed so much the past 30 plus years in my life. And I think that journey really inspires so many people and so many of my friends too. And I think they become, first they got triggered by me. They're like, what the hell is this person becoming? And because when someone is triggered, right, that's when the process starts happening, because they realize they either want the same thing or they have it within themselves and they just suppressing it. And I think now the planet is rising, the consciousness, the energy, the frequency, the vibrancy of the entire planet is changing, and also climate change is also accompanying that process. So people are now waking up. And I think this is why we're seeing a lot of trends and just hashtag about mental health, about consciousness, about healing, about trauma. Everybody's talking about it, right? And I think I'm just stepping into the right time with this movement of Wise Underdogs. Like, hey guys, let's be more thoughtful and more considerate and more collective about this. It doesn't have to be an individual journey. It can be a collective journey. It can be a very fun journey too. Even though it's a little bit hard, it's a little bit dark, this process of healing, but it is serving you for your highest purpose, for your highest self, for your most authentic, best version of your life that you don't even know yet, but is sitting on the other side once you do the healing work. So how does the Wise Underdog movement and brand help the tech leaders and the LGBT community? So let me start with why these two communities first. Why do these communities, the minority tech leaders and founders and LGBT community, are the main primary targets of the Wise Underdogs, right? Well, these two communities are the underdogs. They probably are women or African or Asians or Latinos or immigrants or LGBT community who are now leaders, or just LGBT communities in general, because we are the underdogs of society, right? We always stigmatized and marginalized and discarded or even kicked out, right? Or even killed for being who we are. But because we carry so much power in us, we carry so much brilliance and radiance and ingenuineness, like this originality that people are too afraid to claim or to also embrace themselves. And for those people who are already the underdogs, they need to accept first who they are. They need to accept first what power do they have that they are suppressing or hidden inside themselves because they're suffering from the emotional contagion or emotional consequences for being who they have been all their lives, right? And these people, I think, first, why the minority tech founders, I think we are seeing the rise of technology, right? AI, AGI, startups, you name it, all technology now is booming. And they're gonna be the biggest employers of our generations and the generations below us. Even the baby boomers and the Gen X are now switching to tech, right? And then there are gonna be more and more tech founders in the next 10 to 20 years. And it's important and crucial for me to help these tech founders to be able to not struggle in their leadership journey and mental health journey, and also in their true embodiment of power, because I don't want them to not be conscious about their leadership. I don't want them to build something that are not serving humanity and serving the planet anymore. And to be able to know that and be conscious of that, they need to go within. They need to go look inward about what's their emotional baggage, what's their mental processing that is not serving them anymore, right? What's the pain and suffering that they have been carrying in their shoulders and actually dragging them down and not letting them scale to the new heights, not letting them propel forward to be the best version of themselves and then lead the best technology companies and startup as they could be, right? So it's really about unlocking the power of these leaders. And then the minority of the LGBT communities, these are the people who suffer the most. Like, there's so much mental health crisis and issues in these communities. There's so much addictions, self-destructive behaviors, so much mental health problem in these communities. And it comes from the bottom of my heart. I want to help my people. As an LGBTQ person myself, I went through my own darkness and really suffered this for 30 years. I didn't come out, or I call it inviting in people into my life, into who I truly authentically am, until I was 30. Some people say it's late, some people say it's the right timing. In the classic psychological term, I'm being labeled as a late bloomer, which I enjoy as a late bloomer. But I think it doesn't have to be that late, right? It can be starting earlier. And I think this process needs to happen as early as possible for all the LGBT communities, because otherwise they will always carry this, I think it's not negative, but it's just very heavy emotions that really dragging them down, right? That really destroying them and eating them from inside, from within. And I don't want my people to suffer from mental health crisis. I don't want people to die out of suicide or drugs or just non-productive behaviors that are killing them slowly. Alcohol, sex, STDs, overworking, drugs, you name it. Like, all these things usually become the panacea, or like the what do you call it, the soothing of these people, because it's too painful to be who they are. It's too painful to fit in into a society, to a community that they don't accept them. So they look for other external sources to soothe the pain inside. And I think there is a better way. There is an alternative way to heal, or to soothe the pain. You don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to feel the pain anymore. You can do that in a community. And this is why the Wise Underdog is born, is to create that space for these people. So it's not just for LGBT communities, it's for the underdogs. So if you ever identify the feeling of not good enough, insecure, imposter syndrome, right? Feeling that you are someone that you don't deserve where you are or you have today, you probably are an underdog, right? And I think the statistics says about 70% of us have ever felt this imposter syndrome. So most of the people on this planet probably have felt, because they try to fit into a box. And I want to create a circle where everybody needs to just be themselves. Everybody can be the most authentic version of themselves and belong there. Because the opposite of fitting in is belonging. And belonging requires authenticity. Fitting in requires being somebody else. And that's what I want to offer to these underdogs, that you can belong. You don't need to fit in, and be yourself. So how would the Wise Underdog solve the pain points, right? So I think I would start with just freely available content first, like things that I have processed myself that I want to gift it to the community without charge. You can consume this content, right? So I'm planning to just produce a lot of videos about these things, the themes that are resonating and resonant to these communities. Probably start from the emotions that these people feel first, right? And then maybe some tips and tricks and modalities that people can start practicing themselves, or looking for external support that can help them in this process of becoming the wise underdogs, right? And then from these videos, we will have communities online first, and then maybe then people start identifying, oh, I'm in this country, in this city, they can form their own communities or hubs, right? And spoke. So it's a hub and spoke model. Like there is this Wise Underdogs here, and then there'll be branches of these different people forming their own belonging, the sense of belonging, healing together. And then from there, I will offer some courses, hopefully affordable ones, for people to be able to keep updating and upgrading themselves with the content of the courses. It's self-paced. It's also infused with the sense of community. And then I offer also one-on-one coaching and one-to-many coaching and training that for the tech leaders and startups that want to do the work even deeper and much more personalized and much more catered to their own needs in their own stages of their startups or companies. So those are the plans, and we don't know where this is going. I think this is going to be a movement where people gather and revolve around this movement, the brand of the Wise Underdogs. And there will be different products coming out of it. But right now, it's just focused on providing as much useful, insightful, helpful, wise content as possible. If anything that we talk about today resonates with you, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments below. And if you're ready to take the next steps in your journey, please do not hesitate to reach out and join and subscribe to our community in all our socials. Love, wisdom, authenticity, community, the Wise Underdogs.